are back. We are back with another Matic Mondays. It's your guy, Travel Matic. And if this is your first time coming to check us out, definitely like, subscribe, hit the subscribe button right now. Give you some time to subscribe. Hit it. All right, hit the like button. Bam. Share it. There you go. Take your time, share it. There you go. All right. Because this is a channel where we are going to talk about all things remote work, digital nomad, transferring your skills, travel, expat life, all of that under the sun and a little fun. We have my wonderful co-host, Tiffany, Sports and Heels, back with us again.
Hey, y'all. How y'all doing?
What's good, Tiff? What's good?
Just, me, every weekend for me, I'm here on the track somewhere in the USA. It's track season. It's Olympic year, so I got a lot going on.
Oh, yeah, it's track season. It's track season. Oh,
it is.
Gotcha.
How are you?
I'm good. And if this is your returning time, what's good? Hey, like and subscribe, share this thing again with everybody else, man. We are back with another fun time, talking a little stuff, telling a little lies.
You telling lies.
We love where we're going. Just having a little fun, man. Like I said, we always start at this show. We're just chatting privately and in our personal lives and stuff about remote work and all that stuff. And we just said we're just going to bring the people in, and add to the conversation, Speaking of bringing back, I want to bring back one of our guests that was very, very enlightening. I really like Kyoka, bright mind. I love her energy. So let's bring back Miss Kyoka.
I cannot receive compliments at all. Like, I was like, oh my God, me? Are you talking about me?
Yes.
We love Kyoka.
Oh, yes.
Right. We love applause.
The audience even.
Applause. Yes. Round of applause.
Yes.
Right. How have you guys been?
Yes. So, how have you been doing, Miss Kyoka?
I'm good. How have y'all been?
Pretty
that
good.
Sounds not believable, but I've really been good.
Yes.
Gotta laugh to keep from crying.
I mean, sometimes crying until you laugh, or laughing until you cry.
Oh yeah, been there.
I got you. Yeah, we wanted to bring you back on, and you voice your opinion as well about, like, you want to come back and kick with us. We always say, you like family. Once you go on one time, you like family to us. So
absolutely,
always come back on and bring your babies.
He was begging to be picked up, so
us
until he gets tired of it.
I fed mine and got him away from me, so he could. Let's see how long, because he's staring. He's doing the stare.
This one has a emotional attachment to me that needs to stop. Needs to be stopped. So okay.
You're his emotional support animal.
Yeah, I mean, I think I am, but he's mine too,
Okay. Let's say hi to Mocha. She is in the building.
Hi, Mocha.
Hey,
yes,
Mocha.
She says hi, Tiffany Adrian. She says hi, Kyoka as well.
Hi.
Yes. All right. But yeah, it's so funny, so ironic that before we start, I know, right? I know the dog the same thing. Like, Tiffany and I spoke about these, this boom of travel. This, everybody's talking about travel, and like, is it for everybody? because I know we did a show before on is remote work for everybody, but we never really talked about travel. Like everybody is, social media, YouTube is about travel, travel, travel. Get your passport, get your passport. And then I had a conversation with you, Kyoka, about, you're going all throughout the world, being a copywriter. That's helping you to, fund your travel and everything. And then you was like, I'm in Texas. And I'm like, what? Well, that's not part of the plan. You talking about traveling. What you doing in Texas? Like, I'm just taking a break. I'm like, a break? But, it all depends on the situation. And I wish I could just be a copywriter and travel the world. But, to some people, it may not be so cool to travel out of your suitcase, just be living out your suitcase. So that brought this discussion along here, this topic for today. So since you are first, Kyoka, and you have experienced the extended travel, the slow travel, give me your thoughts on like what's in your mind.
Well, I just got burnt out is what it is. Like, I don't know. I think part of it is me living the dream, but then also like redefining the dream as I live it and discovering sort of what works for me. Because as I talk about on my channel, I'll go back, man. I'm like an introvert, right? So like I'm a homebody. I prefer to be alone, and that's okay. I like having experiences, but I do get tired sometimes. Like my social battery goes to zero and needs to be recharged. So constantly having to like challenge myself by putting myself in different experiences is draining, because it's like every day you're in a place where they don't speak English, or you're like figuring out where to go. And sometimes you just want to like stay inside, or sometimes you want to just like eat pizza or eat McDonald's, or like you want like a typical American experience after traveling for such a long time. Mm-hmm. And then there's also, I don't know, like me being back in Texas for however long, there was like initially like a culture shock, even just being back in the US. Like things were loud, things are bigger than they were. There's all these options when you go into the store and you're like, why are there so many different Oreos now? Like it's a wall of Oreos. But I was just having like a bunch of different experiences, and I was like, I want to go home. I want to like just relax and like hang out with my family. My dogs like it here. I don't know. I don't know what the future brings. I don't know what that's gonna look like in maybe a month, maybe 6 months from now. I'm not sure.
So Kyoka, can you refresh those who are maybe seeing you for the first time on our channel? How long were you traveling, and when did you come back? So after how long?
So I was traveling across Europe for about a year and some change. I went to like 10 or 11 different countries. I brought my 2 dogs with me. They didn't go to all the places. They went to probably like 8, right? And I've been back in Texas now for about a month. Yeah, about a month. So the last place I went back to Albania, and I was there since December. And I think I came back to Texas, what month are we in? April? Yeah, like sometime in March.
Okay. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I got into slow travel in 2023. While I didn't go to as many countries, I did for the first time do something longer than 3 weeks for 2 of my trips. And I can admit, so let me preface this and ask you this first. One, you were solo traveling, because I think it's a difference when you're slow traveling with people or with someone than when you're slow traveling solo. So first, you were solo, correct?
Yeah, definitely.
Okay. And then someone who I can relate to the whole social battery thing, because even like at home, like I go out with friends or family, after a while, I'm like, okay, that's enough for me. I need to like go home and charge my batteries. But even in traveling, I definitely understand, especially as a woman, we have a different layer of things we have to be mindful of when we're traveling. that also adds an extra layer of, things that we get exhausted from, or we get tired from, or we get burnt out from over a period of time.
Definitely, because I think there's just so many. It sounds strange to say, but it was like overwhelming, the amount of newness, right? Because I was also dating in these places. So it was like okay, experiencing food, culture, highlights of like major attractions. So like going to see museums and all these like, landmarks, right? But then there's also making friends in new places. And sometimes there's a language barrier. Because I was there for like anywhere between a month to 3 months, I was like going to the grocery store, figuring out if there was a dog park, like doing just basic things, like I would take exercise classes. So like I would take yoga when I was in Spain or stuff like that. But there was also like, there was a dating component there too. So it's like all of these new experiences coming at you at one time can get overwhelming, especially when you're doing it consistently for like a long period of time without having like a home base, I would say.
Yeah. And do you think being a Black woman also added an extra layer of, you just got tired of the dynamics you have to deal with in that capacity as well?
Okay. I'm like black. So, but this answer is gonna sound not black. I would say no.
Okay.
I would say no, because I think I have been traveling and away from the US for so long that my perception of racism in a way kind of altered. Like when you're in the US, racism is like this weight that you carry on your back all the time, right? I know what it looks like when a white person feels like I'm unwelcomed in a space, right? I know what that feels like. I know what it's like to be made to feel uncomfortable.
Yeah.
But when you're in Europe, especially in certain places, I don't know what it is. I don't know if it's like, maybe I'm just aloof because I'm like walking and I'm not used to walking. And so I'm just like, oh, look at the trees. Or if it's just a different kind of racism is probably what it is. I know that they have like a huge classism problem over there. But even when I was in Albania and I was like the only Black person around, and in Albania, they stare at you heavy, but you just kind of just get desensitized to it. Like, yes, I'm Black. Yes. What else? What else is there?
Let's go to the comments really quick. I got my guy, SNP Life. What's good, man? Glad you could join. Yeah, too much traveling equals jet lag. Oh yeah, that is one thing as well too. Later on in the show, we will talk about the effects. Like sometimes the effects could be a bad situation. Like, have you ever had a bad situation traveling? We're gonna talk about, everybody want to talk about the good, making Instagram reels and making, I'm on this resort and I'm having all this good time and I'm partying, but can you tell us about the time you got stuck up or something? You got pickpocketed and they took your passport and you was like, oh, I'm about to board my flight and I got to go to the embassy and all that stuff. You know what I'm saying? They don't want to show that kind of stuff. So we're going to talk about some of that stuff. We're going to be a little vulnerable today. So think of something, Keoka. I know everything hasn't been peachy keen.
Yeah, I got my phone stolen in London. And I was like stranded because, so like in London, traveling is so easy because you can just use your phone to pay for things.
Yes, that little touch thing of all. Listen, I use my Apple Card and I use my between that and American Express. I never had to pull out any cash.
Yes, when I got back to the US and they were like, "Oh, we don't use what do we call it?
Touch.
Whatever. We don't use touch pay or whatever." I'm like, "What? What?"
And that even here in the US, you have to tap your card.
You have to tap your card. You need a physical card, and it takes a little bit longer. It takes a little bit longer. Like in the UK, it's like boom. And so I got used to just having my phone, and I got pickpocketed one night. And I was like far away from my Airbnb and I had to figure out like what to do and how to get back home because I didn't have nothing. I didn't because I didn't bring my wallet. All I had was like an ID. and I was like in shambles. I went to a very nice hotel and I was like crying, and it was like in the middle of the night, it was like midnight, and I was like, can you please help me? Because I'm thinking, I have an American accent, they gonna help me. I was like, can you please help me? I don't know what to do. I lost my phone, blah, blah, blah. And like this guy, the concierge was like, okay, let's problem solve, right? Like, what can we do? We can get, and turns out, when you're in the UK and you don't have a way to pay, they have to secure you. So your safety means getting free transport back to your flat.
Wow.
So I was able to, so I ended up, he printed out map directions, which I haven't seen since I was like 15. He actually printed out Google Map directions and was like, this is how you get to the tube, the nearest station. I went there and I was like, I don't have any money. I don't have my phone. I need to get back to my flat. And he was like, okay, I'll let you in. So I basically rode the tube. I remembered my way back. I had learned like how to take the underground and like how to get on the whatever. I navigated back to my flat, got back to my laptop, my phone. I think someone stole it. She was in Turkey. She was hopping around. She went all over the world without me, but she got stolen that night.
Wow.
Interesting. Lisette, Elise Paris, one of my first day one subscribers. Thank you for coming through. Good story there. Good story. And sometimes you can learn from the dark side too. There's always a lesson in the lost or whatever.
Yeah, and I'm a big proponent for solo travel. It's my favorite. I talk about it all the time. I talk about it with friends. I encourage friends and family to do it. But there's definitely a dark side to solo travel because you are by yourself. Everything is kind of dependent upon you, right? So if something happens, you really don't have anybody else to rely on. And depending on your personality, that could be detrimental. You were able to, although you did have, got upset, you were able to at least get calm enough to say, okay, let me go and find a fancy hotel. And you're a risk taker because you're traveling solo, right? Across the world. So you're willing to go and ask for help. There are a lot of people who don't have that characteristic, who aren't willing to ask for help, who aren't willing to say, something happened to me, who aren't willing to speak up, especially women. We just kind of, will kind of panic. And that could put you in even more danger. So there's definitely a dark side to solo travel that I don't talk about a lot because I want to encourage people to get out there and get outside their comfort zone and to travel by themselves when they don't have others to go with them. But that doesn't mean you're not cognizant of things that can go wrong. You just have to know how to be prepared and take the time to actually prepare yourself in the case of something like that happens.
Right. And I will say also, my phone got stolen like within, I think it was like the first or second month that I had been in the UK. And so that was my first time abroad and I was alone. And I think after that, I had traveled for the remainder of the year by myself and I never got my phone stolen again. Right. So it was a lesson learned. And it was also like kind of like almost like a warning for me, like, okay, hey, you need to watch your valuables. Like, I realize that you feel safe in London, you feel safe in Europe, wherever it is, but you still have to be vigilant. You still have to carry that same know-how that's already in, living in America. Living in America, you need to be hyper vigilant. You need to like watch your surroundings. So all of the things that you've been doing in the US, even though the UK for me felt safer, I still had to like apply those same principles. And so I took those with me as I continued to travel.
Yeah. And I one thing I noticed when I traveled solo to countries where I don't necessarily am fluent in the language, versus when I went to Europe, I felt, because I'm from the US and because I'm from the Midwest, so I think also your geographical area from where you're coming from and where you're going to also has a huge impact, because where I'm from, I'm around a lot of Europeans. We do have Black people where I live and stuff, but it's mostly European. So I could relate to Europe. And so I understand that people pretty much leave you alone. You know, it's kind of like New York, especially London. It's kind of like New York. People kind of leave you alone. They kind of like doing their own thing. So I kind of felt way more comfortable. And because of the accessibility there, I also felt more confident in wanting to do more things because I knew I could get to and from without having to take a Uber or just get on the tube. Right. I knew it was really easily accessible for me. So I felt a lot more comfortable. Where I went to South America or when I went to Cuba and don't speak the language as well, then I definitely had a much more high alert there when I'm navigating my trip as a solo traveler.
That's fair. I agree with that.
Mm-hmm. Let's shout out to my guy Jaws. What's good? Me and him had a great show the other day on Brown Liquor Baron's channel. Tiffany had a good little discussion.
Oh yeah?
Yeah.
Brown Liquor Baron, you've yet to invite me on to have a nice little discussion.
Oh boy.
Okay.
I love it, Tiffany.
Yes, yeah, and we have my guy C. Jordan in the house. He says, "Hi, family. I love you, Tiff."
He don't.
Okay.
Can I respond to some comments too? Because I see one about.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, so let me find it. Y'all, I appreciate everybody participating in the chat. I love to see engagement. Jaws 2003 said something about Albania. So I lived in Albania for about 6 months. I will say it's a place you should go and experience for yourself because I do know people who have had experiences with racism. But me personally, I ain't had it. They stare at you a lot. They kind of look at you crazy, but I will say it's a curiosity stare. It's not an aggressive stare. And also, the palette color folks be staring at people anyway. So
I used to say palette color.
I did.
Palette color.
Look how white it is.
Yes, but definitely check out Kyoka's channel, Awkward Black Nomad. She is on YouTube and has some great content on her channel. But yes, do you want to go, Tiffany, next about your dark experience?
So I'm going to do two. They're both really brief. The one I've talked about before, and that is almost getting robbed in Paris, pickpocketed in Paris. So before I go on any trip, I always look up common scams from other travelers because I'm ADHD and I'm anxiety travel. So I need to know as much in advance as I can possibly get. So I knew that one of the scams was going to be pickpocketing. I suspected it and I planned for it. So I wore a jacket that has faux pockets, which are fake pockets on the outside. And I wore my crossbody on the inside of my second jacket because it was cool. I went in the fall. I wore my crossbody on the inside of my second jacket. So I'm standing in front of the Eiffel Tower. If anybody's been to Paris, they have this walkway where everybody's kind of like walking up and down by the Eiffel Tower. And there's vendors off to the side of the walkway. And a friend of mine was buying, I think, a charger or something. And we're standing off to the side of the walkway, out of the way, in line with the vendors. And all of a sudden, this guy falls into me, like completely falls. His whole body is on me. And I can feel him trying to go into my pockets. But again, I have fake pockets. So he's not able to get anything other than the good old fashioned Southern cussing out that I gave him for attempting to try to pickpocket me. So that was one that was kind of, dark because I knew it could happen. I just didn't think it would happen to me. And then the second thing is I was in Vinales, Cuba. And I had walked away from my Airbnb to the town square to watch a show and do some salsa dancing. So it's late, it's dark. Vinales does not have street lights, so it's dark. Everything's over, and I'm trying to walk back to my Airbnb. But things look different at night than it does during the day. So I'm walking and I think I know where I'm going, but I'm not sure. So I'm just walking in the direction that looks familiar. And then I make a turn, and now I'm in this like I'm in the hood part of Vinales, and there's like pit bulls barking and people sitting on their porch smoking, and there's all kind of stuff, activity going on that don't look. And I'm sure it was not suspicious activity, but I'm an American and I'm a woman, and it's like midnight. So I knew I was like in the wrong place. So I don't have internet, so I can't use my map to walk me back to where I'm going, even though I had downloaded the map. Because you know you can download Google Maps to use offline. But it's for some reason I'm not able to connect and it's not working. So I'm having like I'm in the dark. I'm standing in someone's now driveway because the street has dead end in someone's driveway. And now I'm like, I don't know where everything's shut down, everything's closed, and I don't know where my Airbnb is. And it's pitch black and I can't see. And so I'm literally in my mind is screaming, why did you not leave earlier? You know you should have, and then the other side of me is like, dude, you know two things you need to do. One, walk like ain't nobody gonna fuck with you. If you walk like ain't nobody gonna fuck with you, nobody's gonna fuck with you. And two, just go back to where you started from. That's the first thing to do is go back to where you started from. So I started walking like, you ever seen The Color Purple? And so you know how when Sophia was walking up the driveway because she was mad at her husband and she was walking with authority. That's kind of how I was walking up this little hill to get back to where I came from.
Like Sophia?
I was, very much so.
Please, I'm gonna do my Sophia walk.
Fist balled and everything. I wish I could imitate it, but yeah, definitely was. And I could see people like looking at me like, what is this girl doing? And made it back to the spot where I remembered, and somehow I miraculously found my way back to my Airbnb. My host, she's looking at her watch and she's like, it's late. And she was just like shaking her head like, don't do that again. And I got back and I was just like, oh, thank you, God. Thank you, God, I made it back. It was very, 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 I mean, that was my first international solo trip. And that was the first time I ever got lost internationally. So those combination of things and my anxiety is really what kind of made it kind of dark for me. But after that, getting lost became an adventure for me. I just make sure I didn't get lost at 12 o'clock and 1 a.m.
I've never heard that story, I don't believe.
Yeah.
Interesting. Yeah, in the chat too, if you have some stories, some brief stories, tell us if you ever got robbed, if you ever got
beat up,
swindled, you got gringo price.
Oh, all the time.
Oh yeah. I can't tell my story.
Right.
Another story, Adrian, that you do know, I got gringo priced in Colombia. You know I can't tell that. No. I got gringo priced.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, you can get taken advantage of. That's definitely a dark side in travel. You can definitely get taken advantage of, especially in like Latin America, South America, definitely all of the islands.
Oh yeah.
You can get gringo price taken advantage of because the minute they hear you say hello, they like, oh, American.
Or you go into those, like my experience in Europe too, I feel like I got gringo price just because I was Black sometimes, because it was like, you're obviously different. We don't know, like if you're not saying anything, we don't know where you come from, but you're different, so we're gonna charge you more.
Right. Or we're not gonna give you the discount. Because what's the other one? The other host we had on, guest we had on, she was saying in
oh yeah,
in what is that? Somewhere in Europe, maybe Germany. She was saying that, the discount is only for citizens or whatever. It's not for foreigners or whatever.
Oh yeah, that was the young lady that's in Portugal.
Was it Portugal? Okay. Yeah, so it happens, and that's dark, man. You know, I'm not here to just give you all my money that just because I'm American, you know. So,
But people
Yeah.
have this perception that Americans are wealthy, and I mean, part of it is like that social media lifestyle, right? Like we only post the highlight reels. We're not posting when we're counting pennies or paying bills.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So,
Yes. So yeah, and pop those in the chat, and I'm gonna shoot one off. Let's see, because I be pushing the limits on my travel, so I'm always caught up in something. I say angels is walking with me. But I think I did tell the one when I almost got. I think I almost got robbed in DR. I wouldn't say I was, but this is a great learning lesson because DR. I have a few stories out of DR.
Yes, you
DR will.
say it like that.
That's another show, Kyoka. That's another show.
Yeah, because some of the things why I did these certain things in this story I'm about to tell is because of previous things, and so I had a flight out back to the States at like 3 a.m. and so I know I usually had to get there like 2. So I said around 12 o'clock I'm gonna leave here, but I didn't tell my Airbnb that I was leaving early. I usually don't tell them when I'm leaving or whatever. I just kind of leave and just maybe message them like, hey, I'm out, I'm going. And so so this place where I was at in Colonial, Zona Colonial, which is the downtown of Santo Domingo, the historical district of Santo Domingo, older place. I just needed somewhere to stay because I was hopping around DR. I went to the North Coast. I went to the by Hayabid, which is by Punta Cana. And then I kind of ended up in Santo Domingo. So I just needed somewhere for like one night to stay. So I got this little room in Zona Colonial. So the place where I was staying, it was kind of like hostel like, right? So it was just a room, but then like you had to buzz in and buzz out. So because I didn't leave at like around operating hours, I kind of left in the middle of the night. When I got downstairs for me to get buzzed out, the lady was asleep. And I was calling. So I had to call my in driver. I didn't do an Uber. I did an in driver. So, okay, so let me back up a little bit more too. The reason why I did in driver is because this is the second little scam thing here. In DR, they will, if you have an Uber and they say they're gonna charge you 900 pesos to go to Boca Chica or whatever, to the beach. they will accept it, and then they'll say, okay, we'll be there in a minute. But then they'll message you again and say, hey, where are you going? I'm going to Boca Chica. You already accepted the thing, right? I know where I put in the map where I want to go, and you accepted what you was going to take me, the place you're going to take me to. So I said, I'm going to Boca Chica. Oh, amigo. You can't do that for no less than about 2,000 pesos, man. What?
2,000 pesos.
Right. So when it goes from like $9 to like $20, and I'm like, dude, why y'all accept the 900 pesos if you gonna come back? And so that's a big thing in Dominican Republic. They definitely get you with that. And so that's why I went to InDriver, because you can put the rate. They can tell you like, now this is what I want. You can kind of negotiate back and forth with InDriver. It's not like just one set rate that Uber declares, which is fair for that, that time or that distance or whatever. So I did InDriver, but InDriver is not the safest because they don't have all the cross checks and the make sure that driver is that driver. Background checks and all that stuff is kind of like just get the app and join kind of like thing. So InDriver is not the best to take in Dominican Republic, but it could be the cheapest, right? So I went with InDriver that night. So the lady, she's trying to I'm calling her to buzz me out. She takes like 20 minutes to buzz me out. I can see the guy right in front of the building, and mind you, my clock is running because I got to be there at least like 2 hours. Because if you like in DR, if you're an hour within the hour, they could possibly not allow you to board the flight, even if you have carry-on. Like they will not let you board sometimes after an hour into that trip before the flight leaves. So she finally lets me out, And I'm like, okay, so I get in the car because I'm telling the guy like, hey, don't leave me, because it's like 1:00 in the morning now, right? It's like the chance of getting another driver at 1:00 is like tight. So I'm like, I need this dude right here. So I get in his car, and his name different. The car actually, I can tell, is different.
Oh no.
So I'm like, so pause. People, that is a big no-no in like when you get in these people Ubers, or even if you're doing it in the States, make sure the person in the car matches with who you requested. So it's a guy from Venezuela. He's like, yeah, this my cousin's car. My cousin's car. I'm like, all right, man, I just need to get to the airport, man. Come on, let's go. So he's like, hey, where you going? I said, man, I'm going to the airport. What you mean where I'm going? Oh. I can't do that cost. I can't do that price. I'm like, oh man, what you talking about? Like, you doing this now? Like the in-driver people doing this? I don't like to have a lot of money at the end of my trips because I want to be bringing all that back. So I had like, let's say I had enough for the trip. I had like 1,000, but he wanted 2,000, right? I can't remember now. So I'm like, yo, I said, man, I hate, and it was getting to me to where I was just like, I'll just stop, and I just get out the freaking Uber. I'm out this in driver, right? And he's like, and I'm like, I don't know where this dude gonna let me off, but I don't want to, it's 1:00 in the morning. So I'm like, okay. So I said, man, just take me to the ATM. Take me to the ATM. I'll get you the extra 1,000, man. I ain't tripping with you. I need to get to my flight. You know what I'm saying? So he's like, all right. So he's low on gas. He goes to the gas station. So in DR, they gas up for you. He goes to the place. Then he's telling me, hey, you can give this guy your card and he can give you back $1,000 or whatever. And I'm like, what?
Nah,
I'm like, no, I'm good. I'll wait till you get to ATM.
Nah.
So he's so busy trying to convince me to get the money from the attendant guy to where when he pulls off, he realized he doesn't have any gas in the car. And I'm like, he's like, amigo, no gasolina. No gas. So I said, well, we need gasoline because from Santo Domingo to the airport is like 45 minute drive. I was like, yeah, well, turn around then, man. But we need to get to the plane. That's what I'm thinking about. That's all I'm thinking about. Get to the plane. So he goes back. He catches an argument with the attendant. Amigo, I'm in the back seat with my luggage, like. I said, maybe they forget that I'm in the car. So I stick my head out like, hey, it's all right, amigo. It's all right. I said, oh man. So he calls the security guard from the front of the store, and it's closed. The store is closed, but he's out there with a shotgun, and he comes up with the shotgun, talking to them like, y'all need to straighten this out. I don't know what happened. Did you give him the money? He's like, yeah, I gave him the money, blah, blah, blah. He said, man, the guy, I gave him the gas. No, he ripped me off. I'm like, I gotta get to my freaking flight.
Oh my God. You're about to get shot out.
The dude finally just gave him another 500 pesos so he could just put the actual gas in the car, and we pull off. That's not even the crazy part. We still need to get to the ATM because he will not let me out this car if I don't give him this extra 1,000 pesos. So we driving. I said, hey, there's a ATM right there by that gas station. Another gas station we passed. He's like, oh, okay. So he stops, he pulls over. It's dark in the gas station, but it's like little lights from the street or whatever, to where I could walk. But I'm gonna walk across this parking lot, through this gas station. And you always keep your head on a swivel. There's nobody out. The guy's parked on the street. He watches me walk across, but when I get about halfway, I hear 2 doors close. Doo-doo. So I went to actually by the time I got to the ATM and put my card in there, that's when I heard the doors close. And I looked over and I seen 2 dudes coming towards me as I'm in this ATM. And then the conscience comes in and says, Adrian, do you want to allow these guys to have time to just sit behind you and wait in line? Or do you think these niggas are going to rob you and get you for all your money? Or you want to hit decline right now? I said, I think I want to hit decline. I hit decline and the car came out. And by the time I came, they was kind of like within about 5 yards away from me. I looked them in the eyes and I kept going. So when I got to the car, the guy says, Amigo, you got the... I said, I think them guys trying to rob me, man. He said, what guys? And I looked back. The dudes wasn't even they wasn't even using the ATM. They was looking back at me. They had done put their backs to the ATM. They was looking at us. He said, come on, get in the car. And so we got in the car and we was gone. And I found another ATM and I got there within more like an hour and a half before the flight left. But I was like, oh my gosh. So it's so many like crazy parts in that story where you really shouldn't be going to ATM. But I was in such a bind because, I'm thinking everything's going to go. The guy's going to accept my offer. I'm going to find an ATM if I need it. He's not going to run out of gas. And, so it was all of that. And I still talk to that dude to this day because he was a cool dude. He was like,
you still talk to the Venezuelan dude? Talk to him.
Yeah, but we became cool because I was like, he was like, man, I'm glad he
finessed an extra $1,000 out of you or $1,300. So
we actually became cool because of just talking along that way because you had such a way. But I didn't. Sometimes I feel like we do have a privilege as Americans because we do have it good here. Like even though that little $1,000 pesos is $10. I didn't miss it. You know what I'm saying? And he got me up out of there really quick because he was like, yeah, this don't look good. Like, come on, jump in and go. Let's go. But
I agree with that. But as a caveat, I will say, so like in Albania, there's a lot of tourists, mostly Americans coming, and we're kind of messing up the economy in a way because they're obviously charging us exorbitant American prices. And we're like, hey, this is less than we would pay in America. So yeah, we'll pay it. But then we're taking, we're creating madness for the locals, right? So like their food costs are going up, their accommodation costs are going up, their travel costs are going up. Like if I compare when I went to Albania in the summer to when I went in the winter, even the price like going from the airport to my Airbnb went up astronomically. So it's like, even that's with me haggling because I know. And I'm like, I can imagine like just coming here for the first time and they telling me, okay, it's $10. And you like, well, that's nothing for a taxi ride. But I'm like, no. It used to be $2. And now it's in the span of like 6 months, it then jumped to $10. That's crazy.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
And speaking to that, when people ask me where they should go and why they should go there, I stop using the words, it's so cheap. Oh, it's so cheap to do stuff. I just go on about the country, the people, the culture, the food, the activities that you can do. And the activities I always recommend are culturally based. Like I'm not doing the whole, you should go zip lining. Like that's not really culturally based, although it's something you might want to do. That's more on an adventure side. But like anything where you got an opportunity to immerse yourself in the culture are what I'm starting to change my talk when I'm encouraging people to go places or to do things, because that sentiment, when you go on social media and you're going to where the indigenous people or the original people who inhabited whatever country, that's the sentiment they're having here. They don't mind us coming and enjoying and immersing and learning and experiencing their country and their cultures and all their food and all the things that they have to offer. What they hate is that we glamorize it. And this is where we go back to the dark side of travel, is that travel has now become so glamorized that it's no longer about experiencing the culture. It's just to be able to say, I am doing this, I am traveling here, or I'm going there. And it's no longer about, I want to experience the culture. That's not even mentioned anymore. If you go to a standard travel influencers Instagram account, and they're giving their take, this is what I did in a day in the life of a travel influencer in Mexico. And it's nothing about the culture. It's resort, I went to this restaurant, it's so Instagrammable. It's all about aesthetics and not about experiences. So I've changed, me personally, I've changed how I talk about travel with other people, because I want to get back to the reasons why I travel, the reasons why it makes me, how it enhances my life, and what I learned from it versus, how it makes me look on social media.
And I also want to add to that. So like, I have a friend who travels a lot, and I guess I travel a lot, but she posts a lot of, so right now she's in Southeast Asia, and she was like clubbing in Thailand and like posting all of these like club pics and nightlife pics and telling me I should come. And I'm like, girl, I don't go to clubs. Like, I don't be up in there. Like, what else is there to do? And she's like, oh, Thailand has this amazing history. There's like tons of cultural events that you can go to. And like, she gave me a list of things. She showed me pictures. This is in our personal chat. And I'm like, it's a conscious decision to choose to show the nightlife, to choose to show like, look, I'm partying and doing all these things. But you didn't show, the pics of you going to a temple, or like the pics of you doing like a nature trail or stuff like that, because it's not seen as desirable content. So I think that's really interesting.
Yeah. And we know that, right? We know that the goal when you're showing your stuff on Instagram, especially for influencers now, the goal is to get deals, to get travel deals. So it's all marketing and commercials. I call people who are doing like Instagram and travel bloggers and all that, depending on how they're doing it, they're doing new commercials for us. They're creating commercials with their content, with their likeness, and they're selling us on a location, which is fine if that's your thing, right? But we have to have this balance where we're seeing just people experiencing traveling to a location versus people selling me on it. You know what I mean? Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Quick question. Mocha had, what would have happened if you didn't get the help you needed?
Is this for the UK story about my? So I gave the abridged version. I actually asked several people that night for help. So like, I went into a restaurant and asked to I had like one friend who was not even like really a friend, like more of an acquaintance, but I was like, let me call this person and see. But I couldn't do that. And then I think I asked like a couple on the street if I could like use their phone to call myself an Uber. I was like, I'll sign into my own account and then log out. Like, I'll figure it out. I don't know. I was thinking like, because when you're panicking, you're trying to like figure out all these different scenarios, like things you could try to do. I think I also asked the taxi driver if he would bring me, and then I would pay him like when I got there, but he said no. He was actually very rude. He drove off. Because I guess sure, I could be a scammer. You never know. But yeah, like going into the hotel was after about, I don't know, like 30 minutes or an hour of me trying to figure out what to do on the side, like, and asking people for help and no one helping me. So yeah, I guess I would have just kept asking, but the Lord is on my side. But I think it's always like, you never know what's going to happen until you get into that situation. And then it's really out of your hands, right? Like, there's things that you can do. There's like we said, like to be vigilant and to just kind of still keep your wits about you, even though you're going through this experience that's like really emotional. Because I was like very, very upset. I'd never had my phone stolen before. I was thinking, oh my God, I'm alone in this country. Like
our phone is our Bible, you know. We live by our phone.
And also, like I share my location with my sisters, and so what happened was I guess they must have turned my phone off because I stopped sharing my location. So then my sisters called me, and I had my Apple Watch, and so I was like, they called me and I didn't pick up, but I could message them like on my Apple Watch, and I was like, what? And they were like, why can't you use your Apple Watch to connect to find your phone? And I was like, they must have turned my phone off. So it was like this whole ordeal of like figuring out what to do in that situation. So it wasn't just like, oh, I just wandered the only reason I went into that hotel is because I had been walking around, and then I heard like some other Americans talking, and then they were getting into a taxi. And so I was like, wait a second, you know what? I have an American accent. Let me go in there and see if they'll try to help me. And so that's what I did. And so she also asked, does the U.S. Embassy help you out in another country? Yes.
Yes.
Absolutely.
I had a thought about this one, Tiffany, which kind of ties into what Jordan said. Here, I was scared when I first traveled, going to countries that I don't speak the language. My cousin told me that I have street smarts and don't be stupid. I don't know if you remember. Actually, how me and how Tiffany and I met was through this group chat, sports talk radio. Doug Stewart, Ryan Stewart, Two Live Stews, Mocha Bella is a part of that group too. And last week, hearing the story with Doug saying that, some people have certain thoughts, certain ideas behind like travel. You can get caught up in something. So he brought up the Brittany Griner story. He's like, see what happened to Brittany Griner? Blah, 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 blah. Brittany Griner story is a lot different than any other thing.
Yeah.
Like, she got caught with contraband that is illegal in that country. Now, if you're traveling with illegal drugs, then you can go into some issues. Go ahead, Keoka. I saw you wanted to say something.
Because I had a thought about that, and I don't know. So, like, if you're going to UAE countries, you can't bring like sex toys in there, or you'll get it confiscated, or sometimes you'll get arrested. I've heard stories too about like if you're unmarried and you're living with, I don't know how true this is because the person was doing a teaching program when they told me about it. So like there was an unmarried couple that was cohabitating and they actually like got arrested and then released or whatever. They had to go through something. So like I would say check just before you go into a country.
Yeah, you always want
the laws, check look online, like do some kind of research to see like what is allowed in this country, because contraband, right? Like don't carry drugs, but you never know what is considered to be contraband, right?
Yeah.
In that country that you're going into.
Yeah, you also want to be mindful of like what kind of activity is considered illegal as well. For example, recently, as in late 2023, early 2024, homosexuality of Bali has been a big topic of discussion because they've made some very public assertions that they're banning homosexual couples and activities, and those who are unmarried and cohabitating cannot stay in the same hotel room. Like there's all these kind of rules that are surrounding the morality of that country and the visitors that visit there to kind of control some of the incidents that they've had there. So those kind of things you have to kind of keep abreast of. Right. That's where you find the gems in social media. Find those influencers who are traveling there and providing that kind of content. You want to follow people like Awkward Black Girl Nomad and Travelmatic, because they're providing you with information on their channels that are going to help you stay informed. Matic Monday is always a great place to start because we talk about stuff like that. We give you updates to travel visa rules and visitation rules and all of those things that are related to you visiting there. So keep yourself abreast by staying and following the right influencers on social media. But yes, you actually have to check about everything. I know in some countries, like you have to wear face coverings when you're going to visit the temples. In some Arab countries, you can't be, your face uncovered. You can't wear tank tops and have your shoulders out. So there's a lot of other kind of rules that we don't have here in the West. that you need to be mindful of when you're traveling abroad to other countries.
Mm-hmm. And so that brings me to finish up my thought with being scared. Um, the U.S. Like some people will say, well, the stories that hit the media are somewhat tied beside illegal action that happened on non-U.S. soil. So when you're on some other country's soil, then you have to adhere to their rules. So that's where you may hear like, well, you get the bad stigma. Oh, you go over there, you get locked up. If you're doing the right thing, you will not. I mean, if you're doing the right thing and you still get locked up, the embassy still will come for representation. I was trying to find the story of the brothers Roja and John, Roja John and Ronell Stevenson out of Ecuador. Two brothers from like the DC area. I'm gonna see if I can bring up the issue here that they had, because I think Roja had a intern at Ecuador, fell in love with the country. His brother, 2-3 years later, came down to join him, and because Roja moved to Ecuador, they got in trouble with a business that they were running, not because of the business, but I think strategically or geographically where it was located in an indigenous area. The indigenous people kind of bumped heads with them, framed them for a murder and drugs on their property or whatever. It was all made up. But the embassy helped with fighting their case. Very big story. Let me see if I can pull it up. But they are actually released as of I think last year. But this happened like 4 or 5 years ago. So they were in jail for quite a long time trying to fight their case, and the U.S. Embassy actually was very supportive in helping them fight their case. So you're talking about when dark side of travel. 2 Black Americans fight Ecuador jail time. These are the 2 brothers right here. Just 3 years after brothers Rohan and Ronell Stevenson settled on a farm in Ecuador, their lives were turned upside down by government and legal system inundated with flaws, according to their lawyer. The brothers have called Ecuador home since 2014, and John purchased the 120-acre land in the province of Morona, Santiago, with the purposes of contributing to the agriculture sector and developing ecotourism business. In March 2017, that all changed when the brothers and John's wife, Johanna, were arrested at the farm on charges of drug trafficking and possession of firearms. But yeah, definitely look at that story. They need to do a Lifetime story on that because it was crazy. But they pushed through it.
Wow.
Had a life-changing experience. But yeah, the embassy was definitely supportive. A few senators from their DC, Maryland area assisted them as well too. So, but that was nothing. They were just buying this farm to help with ecotourism. They had you could go out there, and it was actually giving back to the community with the crops they were growing. They were employing a few people. But yeah, a few indigenous natives kind of just framed them for some crazy reason. But yeah, let me go through these comments because we are at that time.
Don't show any comments from C. Jordan. He's bugging.
All right. I'll try to. All right.
Should I skip over?
Oops, so I didn't miss anything. Hi, travel peeps. Yes, Lisette, you didn't miss much. Catch the recording. Definitely catch the recording. All right, here goes some. This is nice. Do you pick up on the language? Do they laugh at your English? I think that was to Kyoka, maybe.
To me? I think everywhere I go, if they don't speak English, I try to learn a few phrases. So like in Spain, I learned a little bit of Spanish. I took some courses. In Albania, I took a few classes in the Albanian language is called Ship. So I took a few languages classes in Ship. And trying to think everywhere else though, people pretty much spoke English.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah. Do they laugh at my No, they want to practice their English, if anything.
Right. Yep. I'm going to England next. Been there for 1 hour as a kid. Can't wait to go back. Yes, Lisette, you got to definitely get out there. I know you said you traveled when you was younger, but you're never too old to travel.
Yeah. And I love it.
Yeah, London, England. I like England. Lisette, you're gonna have a ball. It's gonna be easy to get around. You don't have anything to worry about. Just watch your belongings.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's a lot of heavy pickpocketing in
Europe
now.
Yeah.
But I'll deal with the pickpocketing as long as they ain't, doing nothing else crazy.
Yeah, I'll deal with the pickpocketing.
Make sure you just put. I like to put my stuff in my book bag, not so much in my pocket. I have a book bag.
Like on the front, you wear one of those front book bags, or
in crowded areas, yeah, in the front. But if I'm just walking, it's a lot of space around me. It could be on my back, and I'm cool with that. But
somebody, I think it was Lauren, suggested. She said that they have on Amazon, they have socks, they have zippers and stuff you can stuff in your underwear. And just FYI, I had the underwear thing.
It's annoying to me.
Even digging in your drawers to get money out is just
right.
It's not practical, guys. It's not practical. People looking at you crazy because you're digging in your drawers.
No.
Because you're digging in your drawers. And then now you let everybody know you got something in your drawers that you're using to pay with. So, I mean, it's really not practical at all.
Now, I have done the money belt across my body under my shirt.
Yeah.
And I felt that was a little better than having it around my waist and then that tucked down in there.
Yeah.
So I've done it where I've cross-body click.
Yeah, and it works great, ladies, underneath the boobs.
I'll put extra money up there.
I thought you get boob sweat. You get boob sweat on the money.
It's in a money belt. You're wearing the little money belt, and it's under your boobs, and it catches the boob sweat.
Money be all wet. But all right, finding balance and stability overall is extremely important in travel, but in life in general. Plus, slow travel helps keep away a lot of the physical body and mental wear and tear of your body. Yes, I definitely.
That's very true. I'm a person who, like I said, I mentioned that anxiety, and flying is one of the things that wears me out. And so having so much time in between my flights really helps me be able to relax and enjoy my trip. So I'm not constantly thinking about, I'm getting ready to get on a flight in 3 days.
Packing too, like for me, traveling with dogs, I had a lot of stuff. And I mean, just in general, I overpack. So it gave me some time to spread out, so I didn't have to worry about repacking again, know.
How many suitcases did you have when you was on your good grind of travel?
So I had my big check-in suitcase, but then I also had a carry-on bag and a backpack. And then I started off with the dogs in a carry-on bag that could be brought in cabin. But then by the end of my trip, I had one carry-on bag for one dog, and then I would fly the other dog in cargo. So we bought a cargo container. When I say we, I mean me and my dog, speaking in plurals.
Okay.
Yeah. So
you check one big suitcase though. That's what I should.
Yeah, I would check a suitcase, and then honestly, toward the end of my traveling, I don't like carrying things, like not even a purse. I'll have like a crossbody and then I'll just check everything else, and I'll have a dog with me.
Okay.
And even the dog carrier, I'll have like detachable wheels, so he gets rolled.
Okay. Interesting.
Chaos, just chaos at the airport.
Yes, I can imagine. I can imagine.
That stress me out.
Okay. We got a graduate here. Jonas is graduating June 2025. I tend to work remotely and live overseas. That's all
Good
right.
for you, Jonas. That's a great plan.
Yes. All right. Cool. I'm used to starring in Philippines and.
Staring.
Oh, he's staring in the.
That's
Staring in the Philippines and Paraguay. So Joel says cool again. I guess he typed that twice actually. Smart Tiffany, the bump and snatch is common. Yeah. The bump and snatch, yeah. Okay. We got a lot of people. Y'all been just talking and talking. We got C. Jordan again. Walk like no one will F with you. Good one. Or sometimes just act crazy out.
I'm not going to act crazy because nobody will help me when I need help. So I just walk with some authority.
Sophia walk.
Because they make socks with zippers.
It works every time.
Zippers to hide money and cars to not get pickpocketed. Amazon sells these items in sets or individually with many colors. All right. Check that out, y'all. Okay, we have a new guy here, Matipit Lolo. Sure, went out one evening in the Philippines. I was the last one dropped off. The cam driver said was going tea. Okay, tell us more about the Philippines, Matipit. Yes, I got pickpocketed in Newark. I thought I had problems. Yes, you got to stay out of the brick city. Yes, it can happen. I think that's the least of your worries. Is pickpocketing in brick city.
This is the second part of his message.
Okay, to be an extra amount, I paid it to avoid drama, and it accounted to $3. Yeah.
Basically, he was the last one to be dropped off after going clubbing. When he got dropped off, when everybody else got dropped off, the driver told him it was going to be an extra amount to drop him off.
Right. I actually, there's another second story. Actually, Cuba, they did that to me one time too. Switched it up. That and I've learned so much from that. And I always, even when going back to Cuba, every time I try to give them the money up front. Like when they say, "Hey, it's going to be 30 kook to take you such and such," or 100 CUP. Okay, here, bam, let me get in the car because I don't want you to switch it up on me.
Yeah.
When you get to that. And I think the last time I did get that one. Yes, they will get you in Cuba, man. Try to get them that money up front. Learn from your guy, Travelmatic. Lauren, I have underwear. Oh, you have underwear. Okay, I have underwear, but digging in my drawers to get stuff was awkward. Yeah, you don't want to dig in your drawers.
I would keep it 100.
See, Jordan, I was protect your back. Okay. Holy smokes. Okay, we got James Posey here. England looks like a third world country. I believe every part of said countries have some type of rough areas. You saw any third world places in London, Kyoka or Tiff?
No. I mean, are we talking about the places with the black folk? But even then, it wasn't that bad. Like I'm from New Orleans. Like, you know what the hood look like? You ever been to like the 7th Ward?
I live in a third world country.
The Cali.
What does a third world country look like?
Right. Define third world country.
I live in a third world country. Let's be clear.
What do you mean?
Exactly. What you trying to say, James?
Yes, and Matipi Lolo brought back in Japanese. There are establishments that stay no no gaijin, no gaijin, foreigners allowed. Mm, yes, I've been hearing mixed emotions on Asia. You know, Japan, China.
The people love Japan.
Yeah, I've heard.
People
My
say
guy, I know a guy that just came from out that way, but only thing I've heard that is confirmed is that it's expensive there.
Yeah.
Out
Well,
of
depending on what you,
the
yeah, depending on what you want to do. Yeah, I've heard it's expensive.
hmm Okay.
That's
Okay. You can,
why I say don't read it. Don't even play it.
oh, he just he just wants you to travel with him.
Shut up.
That's why we need to get that
It's
residency. Mexico does that for some things where citizens or green card holders get those discounts. Yeah.
Yeah, that's true.
hmm I think in Mexico you're able to get more things to you know build out your stay, like for as get certain services cut on and all that stuff. It's like you can't do a lot unless you have um, residency or green card in Mexico. Yeah. Um, John said, I can't stand zona colonial. I feel you on that. All right, y'all. Yeah, y'all going to talk about stuff here. All right. Gosh, there's still some more. Y'all just chatting. Oh man, I'm at the drop. I'm at the drop the link so see Jordan come up here and explain himself.
Aggressive.
What would you count doing activities in nature as well? Would you count?
I'm being trolled.
I think they jumping in your conversation.
I'm being trolled.
Ma bought a house on the border of Arizona. I met a Belgian company who lives there and told me people love other people from other countries. They don't mind dumb dingaling governments. Yeah. I've always had I've only been to Europe once, but I really enjoyed myself in Europe.
I also met a Belgian couple when I was staying in Albania, and they invited me to come with my dogs to stay in their guest house. I didn't go, but I would have. They were very friendly. One of them was an English professor, and I'm a writer, so I was like, that was my homie. I met his wife and their friends, and it was beautiful.
Nice. Yeah, I want to go to Belgium for the breweries there. I love their style of brewing beer, IPAs and stouts and all that stuff.
Chocolate.
Yeah. That too. They got a lot of great things. And Lisette is it's about the individual Mexican border. Yeah. Okay, like I said, Jaws nature activities are my absolute favorite kind of activities. Combine that with cultural submersion. Yes, chef's kiss. I love that too.
I like to be out in nature. I like beaches and parks and rainforests and farms and nature caves and all that. I like all that. When you combine that with the culture of the country, then it's like the perfect thing for me. Anything outside.
Mm-hmm.
I appreciate museums and all that kind of stuff. I love an art. I'm cool on all of that. But
an art?
Yeah. I'm there for the food.
No, I love a museum. I'm kidding.
You love the museum?
I love a museum.
Okay. I'm like, it all depends. It has to be something.
I don't know a lot of men who like museums though.
it has to be like okay. In your city, they have what is called Jam Nola,
Yeah,
which is are
that's
you
not
familiar?
really a museum though. Yeah, I mean, it's kind of like a Gemnola is more of like an experience, like an art experience.
Right, right. And I need that experience. I think the experience part of it. I mean,
Like a
nothing really moves. You're not really touching anything. It's just. I like the eclectic part of it.
that's fair.
And it's fun. I think sometimes museums can be a little boring.
There's nothing wrong with any museum boring.
Now, except now, when I went to, which I got to put that content out too, which I went to the Slave Museum in Curaçao.
Okay.
That was very interesting. It was about my peoples and stuff. So
In London, I went to. Go ahead.
I was gonna say trauma and bright lights and colors.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm all the way black. Yeah, I'm all the way black.
I went to, I think it was like a torture museum when I was in London. That wasn't boring at all.
I don't either though. I don't want to go to stuff like that.
Well, I didn't know it was that.
Oh,
it was the castle. Like it was a castle.
Like some BDSM type stuff, or
no, like how they kill people, how they torture their prisoners,
oh.
and even down to how the prisoners who were being tortured, like before they were tortured, they like had their handwriting on the wall. Like you could see where, like, yeah.
Well, that's morbid.
Exactly. But it definitely wasn't boring. That's all I'm saying.
I think it's important for everybody. Like the greatest thing about solo traveling is you can really create your own experience. So like if you like museums, I don't want to say like morbid stuff, right? But a lot of people like history. And so like they'll go to museums that are like about the history of the place. And so sometimes that's like a dark history. For me, I like art galleries and like, I like a contemporary museum, or I like a.
You know what?
What?
You know what? This does remind me of something when you say this is why I like solo traveling. We need to have a discussion about the solo travel with the black women. The black women solo travel. Y'all are starting to become a little toxic, man. I'm gonna say it right now.
But you like us becoming toxic, and y'all got a whole nickname.
Y'all black women solo travel groups.
Y'all, you call us toxic, but y'all are banned from even traveling to certain countries now because of y'all toxic.
They put out an article about y'all.
I said, because y'all act like a little cult now. Like y'all just like,
what you talking about? I love to meet other women who are also solo traveling because that's gonna be my community. So like what Mocha Bella said. So when my phone is lost, now I got a homegirl. Like I have homegirls in different
all over the world. Yeah,
all over the world. Who, if something happens, they're the people I call because they're also black women. They're also alone. So like we're building community.
Yeah, exactly. That's what they don't like. That's why they call us toxic, and that's why he's saying we're a cult because we won't let them in. But there's a reason why we won't let y'all in because y'all toxic.
All of us are not toxic. That's what I'm saying.
You need to have more conversations with the ones who are, because the sad part about it is y'all know who the ones are toxic. Y'all know who they are. You know my first and last name.
I don't like this. I don't like this divide in the black travel community. I don't.
Blame the brothers who don't speak to us when we on the plane on the way to Colombia.
Tell it. Or the ones walking down the street with the white girls who don't make eye contact.
Blame them. They're the ones that are toxic. They hate themselves, and therefore they hate us, and so they hate the fact that we're enjoying ourselves. We don't have to go out and buy no pleasure.
My thought behind especially this Matic Mondays was to help people, black and brown, regardless of your gender. Because I could have been like, this is an all black male joint right here. Like we ain't got no women up in here. But I said, no, I think we need women in this platform to talk about things that they got going on. You can voice this is a safe place. You know what I'm saying? So I made that I put that out in the atmosphere and the energy. I say, hey, this is what it. But just the other day, I forget this girl's name because I found her off of Stephanie Perry's channel. You know Stephanie Kioka, right?
That's the homie.
Cute little young lady. Followed her. She started to go live. This was just last week. I go on her live, and there she's having something that she was actually talking about with Stephanie Perry on her channel about because like Stephanie Perry actually has helped me to grow for is like what I'm gonna do like after my daughter graduates, like the different things that you can do for as the house sitting, dog watching, all that stuff. Great ideals. Y'all have a lot of great ideals, but it's like share it to your woman friend, share it to your female friend, share it to your female friend, right? So then, so the girl, the second girl, has her live, and I come on, and she's talking about, we got this great panel coming up next week, blah blah blah. Share it with your female friends again about the female. So I said, is it not for guys? And she read my comment. She said, "Is it not for?" She said, "I think I really put her in a tough spot. I think naturally, women wants to be alone with men. God made Adam. He made Eve for Adam. Like we are not meant to be by ourselves, right? Or me and Adam and Joseph and Jacob. All the boys we rolling out. You know what I'm saying."
You gotta go walk the plank soon. Keep going, but you gotta walk the plank.
Because travel is such a great experience to one experience it with your like-minded people, your other female friends. But it's also good to travel together as a couple, or even if y'all.
And there are content creators who promote that, but the women
not like them.
Black women who decide to speak directly to other Black women have found their audience, right? So like if you there are members in the Stephanie Perry group who are married, who are partnered and bring their partners along with them. But the wives are the ones in the group. The girlfriends are the ones in the group.
Now let me tell you what this girl said when she read my message. She said, no, it's only for females. We have to create a safe place for us females.
And Adrian,
I agree.
I think what you are missing, okay? Because I've expressed this sentiment as well. When I am looking for travel content, when I'm researching for a destination, and I go to YouTube or I go to TikTok and I go to Instagram, and I see travel creators who are posting or providing content, and it's from males, it is very much a different perspective. So when I go to have discussions, I'm on a live and they're talking about being in, I'm going to talk about Colombia because that's the last place I went where I had to do research about Cali, Colombia. And I'm looking and I'm on lives and I'm participating and I'm in the chat and I'm listening to them talk. They don't make it safe for us. There's things that our other travel consumers of content are saying in the comments, they're saying on the show, not necessarily the panel, not necessarily the host, but there are other consumers of travel content who do not provide a safe environment for those to come and speak their opinions or their experiences in a chat format or whatever format it is on a live show. So yes, you have to understand that we as women, period, when it comes to be women travelers, need a safe space where we can come and we can share ideas and information. It's not because they don't agree with how you're traveling. It's not because you're necessarily a man. It's because on online spaces, there are not a lot of places where Black women specifically can feel safe to share their travel experiences. That's just the nature of what it is. And I think you're missing that in your offense to, is this also for men? You're missing that there's a definite loss of space for us to feel safe.
Which is also, in a way, receive this egocentric, because you're taking a content that is geared towards Black women and making it about yourself. which is why when we say we've cultivated a safe space for Black women, we kind of have to protect that, because even in a space where we blatantly said this is not a space for you, you've come in and you've said, well, I deserve to be here. Yeah. You sound like a white person. It's the same thing.
I was just about to go there.
It would be like,
oh, we're gonna table this here. We're gonna have a
same thing.
Who wants to table it?
Yuka, high five.
No, because virtual high five in here. Keep them hands down. But that's gonna be the next show.
But it relates to the dark side of travel, because all of these social issues become a part of the conversation that we're kind of afraid to have, because people have very strong opinions and there's no middle line. You're either for it or you're against it. What it appears like when you're having these conversations online. There's not a duality. There's not a common ground, especially among the diaspora, because then you add in those from other diasporas have their own opinions about travel, especially when it comes to Americans. So there's a whole bunch of stuff when it comes to the dark side of travel that we haven't even touched. And I think this is carrying into another conversation that we actually need to have.
Right. I mean, just with Mocha saying, I wanted to hold this here specifically for that. I blame the travel influencers and bloggers because they show the good side of the countries, not the bad side. So travel influencers. So they influence in so many different ways. I had a problem with the gender-based content of Black women influencers. That's just my pet peeve. And I've shown it to my guy Calvin. He had the same thought too. But I think it's something we definitely should talk. I've been wanting to talk about this because they give great information, as I just mentioned earlier. Great information.
But we give information that we know other Black women want to research. We also, just to bring in a little bit of nuance, because I do work in search engine optimization, Black women are more likely to type in keywords and include Black woman, because we want to see ourselves, we want to be able to visualize ourselves doing whatever it is. So I want to see another Black woman do it, because I know she's probably going to have the same difficulty that I'm going to have. She's probably going to consider the same things that I'm going to consider when I'm preparing for this. So I know to look to other Black women for information. It's just, I think it's a natural thing that we do unconsciously.
Right. But that's still not the same as in money ideals for travelers, right? I don't think it should be based on gender for that versus hairstyles, Black woman hairstyles. So of course she wants to see hairstyles that are specifically for her texture, grade of hair, whatever, versus the making money to alternative ways to travel. Putting in Black woman alternative ways of travel could bring you back some actual information for you to read and research on. But I think it can be inclusive to everyone, not just that one.
But when you do, one of the first things they teach you when you learn marketing is you need to define your audience. So you need to create content that your audience is going to be searching for. So if I'm a Black woman and I'm making content for Black women, I'm gonna stick Black woman on the end of everything.
Correct.
So I'm sure that my audience finds my content.
Right. I'm not really judging the content creator. It's more of or the way they build in their base. But we'll go into it. That will definitely be a show.
Another conversation
that you will come back for, and we can talk about. I may have to find somebody to be on I gotta find me one of my bros to come on and.
I'm gonna give you a list of who's not invited. I'm gonna give you a list.
Not Jordan.
Because real talk, some of you ain't trying to see me. I'm gonna be real, because I've stayed out of the whole little thing between the man and the woman thing. When it comes to travel, I've stayed out, because this is hot fire. It shoots hot fire And I'm only coming with facts. I'm not coming with personal feelings or none of that. I'm coming with straight facts, and I'm going to read you like a elementary school book. So don't come on here trying to be disrespectful.
I'll bring somebody on. I'm not going to bring that fire now.
I'm just saying we're not doing no disrespectful stuff because a lot of them are very disrespectful. So if they coming on here, it's all love here. You come with love, you come from a place of love, then that's cool. But if you coming in here to be disruptive, you don't want to do this with this. I promise you don't want to do that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And I got the back end. Whatever I don't know sports, but I got her back. Yeah.
Oh, okay. I think there is a difference between a travel influencer that is living in the country for years, talking about culture, versus an influencer that is there for a month. One is a life versus a vacation. Yeah,
I would agree with that. Yeah, finding somebody who lives there, they're going to give you more of the a more in-depth experience for somebody who's traveling. I think it all goes to motive. What is your purpose of creating that video? Are you creating it to get views? So you're going to show the things. Kyoka just talked about marketing. Are you marketing? Is your audience going to be those who are looking for luxury resorts? Have you been paid by a resort to promote it? Those are all these other factors now when it comes to influencing and travel influencing that are going to have to be something you're going to have to keep in mind when you're consuming this content.
Yeah, but I think at the end of the day, integrity has definitely left the room with a lot of these content creators, because normally, if you're there 3 days or you're there for a week, if somebody was to come ask you like how was what was that? I was in Chicago. That's my second time, but how was Chicago? And it was okay. I wasn't there long enough. That's just natural things that you would say, versus if if I say Cuba, like I've been to Cuba 4 times. So I think I have enough times in to talk about certain things, and I do a lot of research on the country to give more logical, valid content on Cuba. So but some dudes, they feel like they have a week and they can create a ebook and tutorial on how to maneuver through Chicago, which I couldn't do that, but some people do. So that's where the integrity goes into that. All right, listen, I love visiting Arizona. I love Arizona too. So we got Lauren again. That's that's why most of the YouTubers I watch actually live in the country, not vacationing there. You get a more well-rounded perspective from someone who lives life there, definitely. Yeah, and she replied back, and then you have said, "Well,
a lot of comments, so we'll be doing this all night."
Oh, it's all night. Okay. Yeah, well, we are already 30 minutes over. I always told people it's not gonna be an hour over. It's a good show. We get some good content here.
Yeah, we do.
Y'all just having discussion. I see C. Jordan again. Oh yeah. Matipit, see, he saw the Rohan and his brother. Yeah, that's exactly what happened there. Kind of like that gentrification and stuff. Some people get mad because the Starbucks came in to the neighborhood. My God, Brown Liquor Baron joining late. I salute the panel. Is that your Mexican family in the back? Your boy's big. No, that's my El Salvadorian people right there. That's my guy right here, and that's his wife. That's my El Salvadorian plug right there.
You want to say he big, but he bagged the baddie.
Oh yeah, he had a very beautiful wife. Yes, good people, really good people, man. If you ever had a chance to check out El Salvador, I highly recommend it. Yeah. All right. So, are you gonna come back and kick it with us, Kyoka?
Yeah, I'll come back, chat with y'all.
Yes, I hope you had a good time again.
Yeah.
Always. I always have a great time with y'all.
Where you going next? You got anywhere you're going next, or you how long you gonna take this little break?
I don't know. I'm chilling. I'm
Okay.
chilling. The dogs are happy. I'm happy. We good for right now.
So you in Texas?
I'm in Texas.
Okay. I'll be in Baton Rouge next month. I don't know how close that is. So
That's my home. I want to go back to visit some family in Baton Rouge.
well, come in the first weekend in May.
Okay. Maybe I'll plan something.
Yeah.
It's an excuse to go see my brother.
I'm open in the evenings. So
You doing what in the evenings?
I'm open in the evenings.
Okay. Sounds like we're gonna go eat.
Hey. Hey, the key to my heart, baby, right there. Take me somewhere in Louisiana to eat where nobody else be going, like somebody little hole in the wall spot where the food be good. You got to order carry out only. Like, that's what I'm talking about. Like,
Right. We eating
let
in
me
the
know.
car. Like,
With the music turned up. I'm ready. I'm ready.
Hey, I just want to be petty and read Brown Liquor Baron's comment. They don't make eye contact.
It's time to go. Time to go. Good night, y'all.
this was a great conversation. I really enjoyed you guys.
Okay, and yeah, check us out. We'll be back in 2 weeks, I think, if we ain't nowhere else
What's 2
in this
weeks?
world.
Look, I'm tripping.
Yeah, I think I'm open next.
I'm good then too.
Yeah, I got to go talk to some more people about coming on and stuff. A lot of good shows coming down the pike, people. But yeah, yes, Kyoka, great. Thank you so much. I'm glad you brought the idea to me about coming on. Like, I want to come on. I'm like, well, yeah, I will always say people can come on. So yeah, glad it worked out. I think this was an awesome show. With that, I'm out.
Have a good night, y'all.
All right, y'all. Take care.
Bye.
Be safe out there.
BS3 Network, changing the way you watch TV.